The Radical. Fundamental principles of freedom, rational self-interest, and individual rights. This is the Yaron Brook Show.
All right, everybody, welcome. Welcome to Yaron Brook Show on this Wednesday night. Everybody's having a great week. All right, today, by popular demand, a lot of you asked for this. We're going to continue the series about Yaron's rules for life, and we'll see how big of a series this is. Who knows? This might just become a weekly feature or something. There's always new rules to come up with. But there certainly will be, this one, number 2, there'll certainly be a part 3. We'll see how many parts they land up being and how many times we cycle through this, because I think it's worth going backwards as well and reminding you of some of the original rules. So some people cook while they listen to the show. All right, I don't cook. Don't do that. It's not going to be in my rules for life. Cooking is not going to appear anywhere in my rules to life. It's not something I've ever done or ever plan to do. Let's see. Jonathan, thank you. Thank you for the support. Remember, if you want more rules for life type shows, they have to be profitable, so at least $400 today. The more the better, the more motivated I am to do these kind of shows. I might have a sponsor for these shows. We'll see. Talking to him next week, so we'll see if we can find a sponsor for the Rules for Life shows, for the more positive shows. That'll be fantastic if we get somebody. But for today, remember, super chat, ask questions. These topics should raise a lot of sections, a lot of questions. So application, theory. The whole gamut of things. Those of you interested in talking politics, next week. I mean, it's not going to be today. I mean, you can ask super chat questions, but I'm not gonna engage in politics. If you're not interested in Yaron's rules for life, why are you wasting your time here? All right. Super chat. Remember, $20 or more buys you my undivided attention. Yes, on Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to do a show on education. The whole show will be on education. It's going to be great. I hope you guys show up, and many of you come, and you bring all the questions you have on education from pre-K to high school. We're going to be talking about with an expert, somebody who's involved in one of the largest educational projects out there in the world, in the United States. Well, not just the United States. We'll talk about that as well. We're going to talk about what education is, what are the benefits of private education, is homeschooling an option, what kind of an option, are there better tools, worse tools, a lot of content, a lot of stuff. We're going to have Matt Bateman. We're going to have Matt Bateman on. He's excellent, PhD. I think he got his PhD in philosophy, and a really, really off-the-charts smart guy. So, join us on Friday if you want an alternative to what is going on in the schools today, in the private and public schools today. Then Matt has it. Matt has it, and it's practical, it's real, it's happening. You can send your kids to these schools. There's also a lot of content now available for homeschooling. So definitely, if you have children, if you have kids in schools, the show on Friday is a must for you to listen to. And Matt is just phenomenal, super smart. And for those of you who don't know, he's actually married to Gina Gorlin, one of our favorite interviewees on the Yaron Brook Show. We haven't had Gina in a long time. We need to get her back on as well. All right, I think that's all the housekeeping I have. I will remind you again, as people join the show, about Friday's show, but yes, we're doing more positive shows. I'm kind of taking a break from the politics, CRT, bash the left, bash the right shows, although more people watch them. But hopefully you guys will show some love on the Super Chat, and I'll make it worthwhile to focus on these kind of shows. All right. So if you remember last time, we talked about when we talked about Yaron's rules, we focused on just a few, and really everything started with rule number one, the most fundamental rule of Yaron's rules, which is your life is everything. It's everything. You'll never have it again. Take it seriously. And therefore take morality seriously. And take your decisions seriously. And take your choices seriously. Take your life, everything that encompasses your life, seriously. Be ambitious in everything. And take ambition as a be ambitious in your work, be ambitious in your hobbies, be ambitious in your loves, be ambitious in your relationships. And we talk about taking risks, being explorers, being curious, embracing the idea that you will fail, because you will. Learning from it, rising up, and doing better. Expanding your comfort zones, going out beyond what you're used to, beyond what is regular, beyond what you were raised with, beyond what you thought was possible. So, and of course, make choices, make decisions, and embrace the responsibility of making those decisions, of shaping your soul, of guiding your life, of becoming the kind of human being that you want to become. Don't just become a human being, the kind of human being that you become by accident. And the younger you start at this, the more success you will have. Don't just become by default. Become by the choices you make. Take responsibility over it. So today we're going to focus on rules, coming out of these rules for part one, that really center on your relationship with others. So the focus of today's rules is going to be how to deal with other people. Big part of life is dealing with other people. A big part of life, both positively and I think and negatively, is other people, what to do with them, how to relate to them, how important are they, how to guide your relationship with other people. So we've got a few rules focused on others. Right? Focused on others. Thank you, Applejack815. I really appreciate the support. And we will get to your questions as we go along. So the first rule of dealing with other people, and before we get to that, think of dealing with other people. Basically, all these rules are aspects of one virtue. Which virtue is the virtue that relates to how to deal with other people? Which virtue is the application? Which virtue is the application of rationality to human interaction? What is the virtue of justice? So in every respect here, dealing with other people must be guided by justice. Justice is treating people the way they deserve, based on what they deserve, based on your values. So the first rule is going to be, always remember, in everything that you do, but it's particularly difficult, it's particularly challenging, to remember your self-interest, what your values are, what your priorities are, what your life is about when dealing with others. So, it's so easy. It's so easy. In dealing with other people, to let their values, their interests, their focus sway you away from what is really important to you. Particularly if you grew up with altruism, as every single one of us did. Particularly if you grew up with with this heavy emphasis on socialization, which almost every one of us did. It is tempting when dealing with other people to make them, their values, their interests, everything about them, the focus, and subordinate yourself. Forget yourself. And you see that. You see that when you deal with family. You see that when you deal with certain friends. So, I'm not saying other people's values, other people's interests are not important. But they have to be important to you. And you have to hold why they're important to you. And in a sense, why being involved with them is just. So one of the things you should work on is ask yourself questions, not when you're with other people, but when you're alone. Ask yourself questions like, why is person X important to me? What value do I see in them? How do they make my life better? What are their flaws? Where do I need to be careful? Where do they lead me astray? How do I focus our relationship on the things that I enjoy, that I love, that are values to me? Your relationship with other people ultimately is about you. But it can't be about you in the sense of self-centeredness. Oh, it's just me talking. No, it's about you in the sense of you see some value in this relationship. You need to know what that value is and guide and make sure that that relationship is oriented around what you see value in. So many of us fall into patterns of just sacrifice, focusing on the other person at your own expense, or just wasting our time. Wasting our time having being in a relationship with somebody, meeting with them, hanging out with them, and not getting any real value from it. Doing it out of a sense of duty, doing it out of it. Certainly this happens with family, doing it out of a sense of habit, tradition. We've always been friends. So the question is, you defining for yourself what this relationship means to you, why it's important to you, what value it represents for you, and why. What is it about the relationship? So that you can focus the relationship on the value to you. Yeah, be selfish in the rational, long-term sense. do you, and be judgmental in the sense of, evaluate, judge. Am I really having fun? Is this really beneficial? Am I really moving my life forward? Otherwise, why are you doing it? Because you always have. Because your parents expect you to. Because your spouse expects you to. Be clear, be objective about why you have the relationships that you have and why you treat people the way that you do. So let's say, I don't know, let's say you when you meet a stranger, you're really nice to them. And you spend a little time maybe getting to know them, and you're really nice and really friendly. Part of the question here is you should know for yourself. You should, in a sense, prove to yourself, why? What value is this to me? Why am I doing it? I'm not saying that's wrong. Not at all. I'm just saying it should be well defined for you. What do other people represent for you? What value do they represent for you? I mean, for me, other people, even strangers, represents the value of being human and the potential that then emboldens. Short of evidence to the contrary, I assume that they are productive, interesting, positive human beings that can and would, if the right circumstances arose, contribute to my life. This is why I'm willing to help strangers, why I'm willing to stop the car and check on if there's a car accident, check on somebody, make sure they're not hurt. This is why I'm generally polite and positive towards strangers. This is why, without too much of a cost, I would walk into the river and save the child or save the person from drowning. Right? Because human beings to me are a value. But you have to define that for yourself. Because, and this is the thing, in a rational culture, this in a sense would be less important. But in a culture where we're raised altruists, in a culture where everything, all the messaging the culture provides is a messaging around altruism. It's a messaging around duty. It's a messaging around your life doesn't matter, except in that it can help other people. It's really important to know and to verify and to validate your own motivations, to validate your own values, to make sure that you're not doing it out of a sense of duty, out of an ingrained altruistic sense that you were educated into. It's important to really hold these ideas as an independent thinker. Make them yours. So just because it might appear altruistically doesn't mean it's wrong. If you understand in what way it's not, if you understand in what way it is in your self-interest. Now, you don't have to do that every time before you meet a new person, every time before you face a situation of helping somebody or not. You have to do it, though, in a sense, in principle. What is it about human beings that I value? I'm going to tell you something Jennifer told me. Hopefully she doesn't mind. But Jennifer likes seeing people smile, right? It gives her pleasure to see people smile. Even if it's just walking in the mall, seeing other people smile gives her pleasure. And I completely understand that because it does me too. It's cool to see people express positive emotions, even people you don't know. Even people you don't know. Why? You should ask yourself. I don't think it's hard to come up with the answer. But just clarify in your own mind that the reason you feel certain things, the reason you do certain things when it comes to other people is not motivated by altruism, is not motivated by values you didn't choose, by conclusions you didn't come to as an adult, if you will, as an egoist. So that, I think, is the most important thing, is don't lose yourself in your relationship with others. Hold your values, your life, your interests. Always hold them as primaries. As primaries. And again, I think of all the relationships we have, the most complicated emotionally, and the ones that we tend to be most drawn in by altruism, drawn in by unchosen values, drawn in by how we were raised, is our relationship with family. Parents, siblings, and you know, for some people, even their extended family, they have feel some distant obligation towards their cousins. Be very, very careful there. It's the parents who probably inculcated altruism in you. They expect altruistic behavior even though they cannot make it explicit. They don't even know how to make it explicit. They don't even think in those terms. But to them, altruism is automatized, if you will. They expect it, and they expect you to behave in a particular way. So you have to really give deep thought. And they're very good at manipulating. Parents are very good at manipulating. And look, with you, they've had a lifetime of experience because they've known you since you were born. So they've had a lifetime of experience in how to manipulate you. They know your triggers. They know exactly what to do and how to do it. And often your siblings are the same. Don't let them. Again, think it through. What value do they represent? Why do you want to have a relationship with them? Why do you want to interact? Under what terms are you willing to have that relationship? How can you undo whatever manipulation there is? How do you distance yourself from that manipulation? How do you treat the relationship objectively, fresh, first-handedly? So, of all the relationships, the hardest ones are family, because we feel obligated. And there's real shared values there, right? Because you grew up together. If your spouse says you feel like you owe something to your parents because they raised you well, let's say, and they treated you nicely, and you, again, you've got shared memories and you've got positive memories, hopefully. All that is great. But make that explicit in your relationship. And decide what that is worth to you and how much you're willing to engage with that, how much you're willing to give for that, how much you're willing to trade on that. And beware of manipulation, beware of guilt, and beware of altruism, and beware of sacrifice. And I see sacrifice all over the place when people deal with their families. And sometimes the easiest way to deal with that is through geographic distance, right? All right. Any questions on any of that? Yeah, Jennifer. Can it sometimes be difficult to tell if the not so good parts of a relationship are worth the good parts? Yeah, it's really hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. When there are not so good parts of a relationship, it's hard to tell. And you have to take a big picture. You have to take a long-term view, because sometimes the not so good parts happen in a particular time. You have to take context into account. Look, other people go through hard times, and they might not be the nicest, friendliest, best friends at the time where they're going under stress, under problems, or under difficulties. You have to be objective about your evaluation of other people. Again, justice demands objectivity, demands evaluating people based on what is real, based on the context. So, but it's hard. It's hard. And look, you don't want to err on the other side either, right? You don't want to say, I don't know, this person's sick right now, they're not pleasant to be with, it's not fun, so I'm going to not see them for a while because it's not fun. Well, but that's not what a real relationship is about. It's not about that every moment is fun. It's about the totality of it. And if you've got a good friend who's going through bad times, you should help him. He, she, of a value to you. Not because of, this concrete or that concrete or that concrete. They, as a human being, are a value to you. And therefore, you're willing to sit at their, when they're sick and feed them soup, right? Or hold their hand. Or encourage them when something terrible happens to them. Or whatever it happens to be, you're there for them. That's what it means to be, partially what it means to be a good friend. Is you're there when things are not going well because you value them as a human being. So that's why it's so important to have an evaluation. Do I love this person because it's just like going, I don't know, to music concerts with them and we have fun doing that, but as a person, they're not that big a value to me. Or other people no, this person is a value to me. This person is a friend, a capital F kind of friend. They are an important value to me. They make my life better. I enjoy life more because they are alive. And then when they get sick and they're not doing well, these are the people you want to help. And that's not a sacrifice. Wearing headphones when I don't need them, that's a sacrifice. So you do what is necessary to help them out and to do what you can because they're such a big value to you. Somebody being of value to you doesn't mean they make you happy every moment of the day. It's their existence, their character, who they are and what they are the value. Again, don't view selfishness or self-interest as this scorecard of concretes. Character is not a scorecard on concretes. It's a summation. It's not how they make you feel one day, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, not so much. It's who they are. It's what they represent. It's the value that they have for you. That's what friendship is, and we'll talk about friendship in a minute. So when I say remember your self-interest, it doesn't mean that, somebody's sick, a friend of yours is sick, somebody who's a friend of yours, who you value greatly is sick. Yeah, but I'm not going to have fun with them today, so I'm not going to go visit them. That's not a self-interested kind of view. That's a short-sighted, unjust, because they are your friend. Treat them as they deserve. And it doesn't take into account you're betraying your values. If they're of value to you, help them. All right, I hope that, I don't know if I answered Jennifer's question, but I hope that fleshes out a little bit what I was saying. Excuse me. Don't know where that came from. All right, so let's move on to friendship. Friendship's a good topic. You want to pursue friendship. You don't want friendship to just happen to you. Ooh, I'm getting compliments on the chat from Richard. I must be doing something right. I mean, that's pretty unusual. And on a topic not related to politics, and he's giving me compliments and he seems engaged and interested. So I'm taking that as a major compliment. Thank you, Richard. Friendship is not just something that happens to you, or shouldn't be. It's not just, I was friends with somebody in 3rd grade, so I'm friends with them today. I'll just accidentally bump into people that then become my friends. Friendship is a value. Friends should be people you admire and who admire you. Friends should be people who reflect back to you the values that are important to you at some level. That give you visibility into your values, into your character, into the kind of things that you admire in human beings. So friends shouldn't just be people you like hanging around with. Friends shouldn't just be people you've hung around with in the past, therefore you will hang around with in the future. Friends should be the kind of people you really want to spend quality time with. Now, again, there are all kinds of levels of friends, and there's nothing wrong with people that you hang out with. They're just maybe small f friends rather than big F friends. There's a value in somebody who you've been friends with since kindergarten, because again, you have shared experiences. They're a little bit like family in that sense. But you should also seek out friends. You should look for opportunities to find people that you can respect and you can admire and that you can have a relationship with that share your values. You should go to places where they might be. I mean, a lot of you are out there, maybe have never met, for example, another fan of Ayn Rand's before. Well, go seek them out. Now, it doesn't guarantee that if somebody else is a fan of Ayn Rand, they're going to be your friend. It often isn't the case, and often the people you meet are disappointing. But yeah, you can do book club. Wanda Freeman says a book club. You can come to conferences. You can go to conferences of things that you enjoy. If you love classical music, you go to concerts. You go to maybe conferences that deal with a particular aspect of the thing that you love. If you have hobbies, get engaged with them. Look for people who share your hobby, who also share other values with you. Seek them out. Find good people. Surround yourself with good people at all kinds of levels. Good acquaintances, good people to hang out with, and good friends. People you can share everything with. The happy times, the sad times, the difficult times, the challenging times. You know, people who you could phone up and they will come to your side and help you out. Not because they feel sorry for you. Not because they feel some kind of altruistic moral obligation to do it. But because they love you in some important sense. You're important to their lives. People who you would get on a plane and fly to go see. If if that had significance, if that meant something to them, if that would help them in some important way. So try to find people that you can have deep relationships with. They don't have to agree with you on everything. Many of the values that you share with friends are implicit. Not implicit. There has to be a certain sharing of moral values, at least at some level, right? Not everybody's going to be an objectivist, but at some level. They have to be honest people. They have to be a productive person. But they have to have a certain sense of life similar to you. They respond to certain things in a similar way to you. There has to be something that you admire about them. There has to be something in you that they admire. In you. The closer those bonds, the closer the friendship, I think the more fun one has in life, the more enjoyable life becomes, the more human interactions are meaningful, exciting, fun. I don't think you have to like the same movies. It depends on your friendship, right? Some people might not like the same movies, but might like the same music. But there has to be something you like doing together, valuing together, caring about together, seeking together, challenging yourself together. So pursue friends. Make an effort. Go find them. In a sense, challenge them to be your friends without being obnoxious and a jerk, because that won't lead you anywhere. And again, filter your friends. Make sure that you're acting out justice. That your good friends are really good. That your bad friends are no longer your friends. That you're not wasting time on people that don't deserve it. That you're investing in the people who do deserve it. That you're treating the different people the way they deserve. That you're not getting on a plane to travel across the country to see somebody you don't really like that much, but they were friends of yours in third grade and you've got some emotional attachment to them. Make sure that you're laser focused on your values, on your self-interest, on why it is that this person is of value to you. And again, as I said before, make sure there's no altruism there. Make sure there's no guilt motivating there. Make sure there's no sacrifice involved in the relationship. And, note that almost none of us have friends on Facebook. I mean, friends. We have friends, people we call friends. I mean, it's a little sad that they call it friends on Facebook because it devalues the term friendship. So when you say I have a friend, now what pops into people's mind is Facebook. Well, Facebook is acquaintances. Your good friends are there, your acquaintances are there, your mediocre friends are there, all kinds of people are there. Most of my friends on Facebook, I don't know. I have no idea who they are. They're certainly not my friends. So, make sure you understand what friendship is. Okay? And what you value about it. And that you're fully invested in it. And not everybody is on Facebook. Live interaction is necessary, I think, for friendship. I can go months without seeing my friends, without talking to my friends on the phone. I don't like talking on the phone. I find it cold and I just don't like phone calls. And I don't like Zooming with friends. I just don't like the intermediary. I like to see them in person, and it's fine. If I don't talk to them, don't see them on video, don't chat with them on Facebook or on chat for 5 months, I'm fine. Because when I see them, that's where the value happens. That's where I get it all. That's where the energy comes from. That's where I experience what it means to be their friend. So try to do it in 3 dimensionals. Try to do it in 3D in real life. Get vaccinated and go visit your friends. Right? Yeah, I'm on Zoom all day doing interviews, interviewing people interviewing me for raising money, all kinds of things, a million things. Research calls, this calls, that calls. It's a business medium. It's not a friendship medium. It's very difficult. So make the effort. Get vaccinated. Go visit your friends. Show that you care. All right. I don't know. Is there something wrong with the, oh, there it is. Okay. We've got 60 likes. We're over 100 views. We should have another 40 views. I need a vacation. I don't know why I need a vacation. Why are you saying that, Wonder Freeman? What is it about what is it about me that you think needs a vacation? Needs a vacation. Why? I have been vaccinated. I'm vaccinated 100%, but you should get vaccinated. Get it over with. We should get more likes. So before you leave the show, don't forget to like the show. Don't forget to share the show. Don't forget to click that bell. We're doing really well on subscribers. So keep subscribing. We're now 25,100. So we're on our way to 100,000 subscribers. So keep helping them with the subscriptions by subscribing. Don't forget to do that. And of course, the most important thing is don't forget to support the show. YaronBrookShow.com/support. You can also sign up for the newsletter at YaronBrookShow.com. You can also support the show on Patreon and Subscribestar. And again, I urge, I've got a lot of new subscribers, and if you're a new subscriber and you're enjoying the shows, I hope you will consider supporting the shows, kind of showing value for value. At the end of the day, the measure of the value I'm providing, I feel, is in the value you provide me, and that is the financial support that you provide through the monthly support, and of course through here on Super Chat. As El Hadrina is pointing out, we are way behind our stated target of $400 for the show. So we still need about $300 to get there. So we could have one big whale coming in and just doing the $300 and get it over with, and that's fine. But we could also get a bunch of you guys, like Jeff. Thank you for the support. Jeff says Alberta under complete irrational lockdown again. Canada is just unbelievably authoritarian, a little bit like Australia. Australia was unbelievable. I don't know if it's any better now. Meeting friends is still very hard in Canada. Yes, it is. It's awful. I mean, it really, really is awful. And it's hard in the U.S. because to fly anywhere, you still need to wear a mask, and masks on airplanes is no fun. Believe me, I do it all the time, and it's no fun. So, again, get vaccinated and try to put as much pressure on our politicians to eliminate all these ridiculous mandates, particularly for vaccinated people. I mean, if you're vaccinated, what the hell? Right. So, but yes. Did Wanda Friedman explain why I need a vacation? You sound stressed by all the screen time. A vacation is about distance from TV, driving, and work. Yeah. So my wife has a collection of photographs. You remind me, it's a vacation is being away from a screen. She has pictures of me pretty much in every vacation spot we've ever been in all over the world. You know, I've been to probably 70 different countries and maybe more. Maybe I've reached 100. But in every place we've been, the most exotic, romantic, distant, whatever place, there I am with my head stuck in my iPhone. She's got this whole series of photos of Yaron with his head stuck in an iPhone. Bad vacation tactic, and particularly bad vacation tactic with your wife. Travis, thank you for the support. Emmanuel says meeting friends in the Bay Area is tough. Social justice warriors run the area. Screw them. You know, hopefully your friends are not social justice warriors. Tell them to go screw themselves and get together with your friends and go hang out. I think restaurants in California are open, at least outdoors. You can hang out with them at a restaurant. You can do stuff. You can go to a park. There are plenty of great outdoor spaces in California where you can go hang out. So, yeah, just do it, man. All right. Rule number 1 on this section was remember your self-interest when dealing with others. Don't forget why you deal with others. It's for mutual benefit. You're not an exploiter, but you don't want to be exploited either, right? You're there for mutual benefit, but you're not transactional. People think that objectivists have transactional relationship. You know, you cook me dinner, or I'll cook you dinner, and I'll provide sex or something like that. That everything is as if sex is not mutually beneficial, and it's just everything has to be tit for tat. You know, like in the marketplace. Relationships are not like in the marketplace. Self-interest is not actuarial, where you're keeping track on a ledger, all the things she did for me, all the things I do for her, da-da-da. It's more about who the person is and what they represent for you, what they do for you in their very existence, and in their very acting in life, in their successes, in their achievements, in their pursuit of their values, what that does to you. You enjoy a friend's success. You relish a loved one's achievements. So, it's not transactional. It's about value for value, but value in the broadest, deepest sense. Right. There should be a lot more thumbs up if you like the show, of course. All right, we're at 180, so still like 220, still less than 50% there. So if anybody's there who hasn't yet contributed to the show and who has the resources and would like to because they get value out of this, go for it. Now is a good time. It's motivating, too. Motivating for you, motivating for me. Whoops, I didn't copy this Super Chat question over. So, as part of this issue of relationship with others, pursue friends. But number 3 is pursue love with passion. Pursue romantic love with the most passion. It is the most important relationship you will have. The most important relationship you will have in your life. It will, should, can bring you immense amount of joy, immense amount of happiness. Find somebody that you truly love, that you love being with, but that you love their existence. You love that they exist. Somebody you're sexually attracted to. Somebody you want to live with. Somebody you want to embrace. Somebody you want to share life with. Super K Pill says, I read romantic love only lasts a few years for most people. Well, it depends what you mean by romantic love. If you mean the newness of having sex with somebody new for the first time, yeah, I mean, that doesn't last that long. But over time, if you take your relationship seriously, the love, the romantic love doesn't diminish. The romantic love doesn't go away. The sex is different. It's not like first time. It doesn't have the newness aspect. But in a sense, it gets much better. It gets better because you know yourself better and you know the other person better. It gets better just physically because you know each other better. You know what you like more. You know what really gets you off. You know what gets them off. The sex becomes much more enjoyable. Maybe it has less of that first time learning each other, learning about each other sense of excitement. But that is exchanged for just being better, just being more enjoyable, just being more exciting in some way, in a different way, but still exciting. So I don't think that goes away. If you do it right, if you think about it, if you value properly, if you invest in it, it's work. Having a good relationship is work. Having a good relationship with friends is work. Having a good relationship with a spouse is a lot of work. You're sharing a living space, not easy. You intersect on almost everything in life. You better be compatible. So don't buy the cynicism, the skepticism that's out there. And don't buy the I know mostly men listen to the show. Don't buy the anti-female attitude that's out there. That there are no women today, they're hopeless, useless, whatever. That's more of a reflection of the men that express that than actual what women are like in the world out there. Oh, and it's risky to get married because the legal system is all arrayed up against men. I mean, there's elements of that. But that shouldn't dominate. Fear shouldn't dominate your relationships. The contrary. Be bold. Be passionate. Don't give in. Don't give up. Don't compromise. Pursue your values. And not every woman you fall in love with is attainable. Not every man you fall in love with is attainable. But you got to try. And then move on. So, I know too many people who wait for this to happen to them, who wait for love to find them. Right. Why does everything become political? Man. So, don't sit around waiting. Go out there and try out, test, experiment, push the boundaries, see what's available. And make an effort, particularly when you're young, because again, you're never going to have this back. It's hard for people. It's hard not to I'm distracted by something in the chat. One second. Oh, Travis says he's got a fiance from Japan who's moving here soon. Wow, this month, just before my birthday. I haven't seen her since August 2019. Wow, that's a long time. That's a long time. Good luck. That's That's very, very exciting. Very, very excited for you, Travis. That's great. So don't sit around waiting. If you have to move to a different city, if you have to move to a different country, it looks like Travis found love in Japan. Pursue it. Invest in it. And again, remember why you're doing it. You're doing it because it's good for you. All right, let's see. All right, one last rule for dealing with other people in your relationships. Remember, all this relates to justice. There's a lot more to say about romantic love. We'll have to do more, talk about that in future shows, because we're running out of time here. But a lot more to say about romantic love. But everything I said about friendship, everything I said about self-interest, everything I said about dealing with others is doubly so for romance and romantic love. And love generally. I mean, it's not, the only love is not just romantic love. Find relationships that bring you love. Right. Find heroes. Find people you admire. Find people who are models of behavior. Now, this can be in real life, and it's great if it's in real life if you can find heroes. But it can also be in literature. It can be in the movies. It can be elsewhere, but find people who inspire you. People who help guide your life, who help you get clarity about your own values and act consistently in spite of challenges in achieving those values. So be a hero and find heroes. Heroes here, I mean people who've achieved great things in spite of obstacles, in spite of the odds. Real values. Values that you recognize. People you can look up to. People you can model part of your life after. Right? So seek them out. And if you do find the heroes, and they're alive, go thank them. Just a simple thank you. A super chat. No, a simple thank you is unbelievably appreciated, unbelievably valued. So again, I mean, some of this boils down to don't be passive in your relationships. Think them through, choose your values, pursue that which is important to you. Make it yours. All right, again, a lot to say about all of these issues, I think. But we'll have to do that. We've already gone for an hour. So I think an hour is enough. I think an hour is enough for this topic. Other than, of course, we've got Super Chat questions. So we'll start with the Super Chat question. K. Paxing Corp, I think that's the name, says this Super Chat is dedicated to Ali. Alejandrina, I take it. Also, I enjoy the non-political topics. Can't make myself better, let alone make the world better, if I keep focusing on politics. Absolutely. Absolutely. And hopefully some of these positive shows give you things to think about, motivate you to make your life better, and give you some tips on how to do it, hopefully. Let's see. It can be hard for people to tell that their rage comes from envy or jealousy. How often can't recognize it? You often can't recognize it in yourself instantly. It takes really focusing and analyzing where it stems from. Why is that? Well, because emotions happen so fast. They happen so quickly. that you first feel, only later can you analyze. And particularly if it's a strong emotion like rage, it overwhelms you and it shuts down, in some sense, your ability to analyze. You really have to calm down and step back to get a good sense of what is really going on. So it's a speed of it. But it's also the fact that most people don't introspect. So most people don't know the extent to which they suffer from envy or, jealousy. They just don't know that about themselves. They don't know where to pinpoint, if you will, the blame for the emotion, the cause of the emotion, because they don't know themselves. And the important thing here, I think, is the importance of introspection. When we feel a powerful emotion like rage, when we have any powerful emotion, caused by anything, including love or passion or sexual attraction or anything, any powerful emotion, it's incumbent upon us to think about why. In a sense, is it justified? Does it come from the right place? Are the values that it represents values that are real for you? And that's true of all emotions, not just the negative ones, not just rage, but including the positive ones. I mean, the reason you want to know is if it's positive, you want to know it so you can do it again. You can get the same, you can reinforce it. If it's negative, you want to know, where's it coming from? If I'm going to suffer something negative, I need to make sure it's justified. Otherwise, I'm just causing myself pain for no reason. So introspection is really, really crucial. And introspection should be motivated by your ambition, if we can return to some of my rules, should be motivated by your ambition to live the best life that you can live. And therefore, to live the best life that you can live, you need to understand your emotions. You need to understand your values. You need to understand what is good for you and what is bad for you. All right. Let's see. How come most people aren't truth seekers? Aren't they curious what the right answers are? Some people aren't. I don't get it. I've always been curious. But some people are just not curious. They're not interested. They're not motivated. They're dull. Or when they're curious, they've been, you can think of lots of causes for this phenomenon. But there are a lot of people who are just not. They're not engaged. They're not thinking. They're not focused. They're not curious. How come? I don't know. Because of the choices that they made. Because of the lives they've lived. Some maybe when they were young, every time they showed curiosity was slapped across the face. And they surrendered. Some of us rebel. Some of us surrender. Some never took the initiative. Why bother? Life's easy without thinking too much. So, different motivations by different people. All right, let's see. Andrew, thank you. Super K-Pill, thank you. Let's see. Don, thank you. Apollo, thank you. I really appreciate all of your support. Thank you for supporting the show, particularly this show. I really appreciate that. Let's see. Next super chat. Altruism at work again in the U.S. Support for stripping COVID patents. Yeah. I mean, altruism is at work in every aspect of every day in our political lives. It's all motivated by, in some way or another, by altruism. And this idea of stripping patents from these companies that are brilliantly just saved the lives of who knows how many hundreds of thousands and have contributed massively to all of our lives. So we will reward them by taking away their rights, their property rights over their own inventions. It's so infuriating. And everybody support this. There's almost nobody who's going to stand up against it. I mean, it's the anti-drug company is shared by left and right and everybody in the middle. It's just horrific, given the unbelievable innovation that are these COVID vaccines. Thank you for these shows. Loved part 1, bedtime here now, so we'll have to catch up on this tomorrow. Excellent. Thank you for the support. Thank you for liking these shows. How are definitions the guardians of rationality? Well, if you think about rationality is thinking. It's reasoning. It's thinking about the world. Definitions are what keep our thinking clear. It's what keeps our thinking grounded to reality. Well, what does that mean? You're saying that, but what does that refer to in reality? That's what a definition does. It says, what does that refer to in reality? What is the meaning of what you're saying right now? Otherwise, it's all floating. It's all words. We think we're communicating. Well, not really, because we're using the same word to mean different things. Neither of us is even clear in their own mind what it is we're referring to, because it might be floating in both of our minds, because we might not have used the definition even in our own minds. So it leads either to subjectivism, which is we all come up with our own definitions, or it leads to some kind of intrinsicism where, well, the truth, it's obvious what that is. You know, it's right there in the thing. Can't you see it? And the imposition of dogma. But an objective view of reality, an understanding of the importance of definitions, and how definitions can change when the data changes, but being data-oriented, reality-oriented, oriented towards the concretes that make up the definition. So definitions ground you. They keep you real. They keep you in reality. And that's the way they're the guardians. They prevent rationality from becoming floating and detached from reality. Brian, wow. All right. Brian has a $50 question. He's getting us very close to that $400 that Alejandrina is being trying to get us to. Another couple of $50 and we're there. Right? I think it's less than 100 we need now. No. What am I? 400. Yes, less than 100. I have recently been to the moon and back with Dogecoin and found it to be under the control of a highly synchronized bots. Is market manipulation a bug or feature of free markets? Is it a necessary consequence of the rejection of market fundamentals? I think market manipulation is directly correlated with the extent to which a market is grounded in reality. So the more market is grounded in reality and the values are grounded in reality. Thank you, Brian. I think Brian has just put us over the 400 mark. No, but he's got us very close to 400 marks. So thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian. And Brian, two Brians, two different Brians. That's excellent. Today is a good day for Brians. So a market that has assets that are linked to something real, to something we can evaluate in reality. The value can deviate from its, what I call its objective value for periods. But those periods are relatively short, and the more free a market, the more rational a market, the briefer those periods are. But I fear that much of crypto is unmoored, detached from actual valuations of value in reality. And therefore, its value is a consequence only of a subjective evaluation of what people think it's worth. But it's almost impossible to tie it to anything real. What's it really worth? What's its use? What would I do with it? How much am I willing to pay for it? So I think you're more likely to see this manipulation, speculation, massive volatility in things like crypto because it's detached from an objective base of evaluation. It does not have an objective grounding in some feature of reality that would connect it to it's worth X versus Y. Thank you, Stefan. Love these shows. They are really inspiring. Hope you continue to do more. I will. No question. I'm hoping, as I said, to get sponsors for the more positive shows, and that way there'll be less pressure on the super chat to get us to 400. But just it'll become more lucrative for me to do more and more positive shows if I have a regular sponsors for the positive shows. I was surprised to read how social Ayn Rand was. I suppose she felt so free from being forced to be social that it opened her up to enjoy it more. Yeah, this idea that objectivists or egoists are not social is ridiculous. The contrary. As egoists, we understand the value that other people represent. We understand how good human relationships can be. We understand what value we as individuals get from other people. So we are more likely to pursue it rationally and pursue the right kind of people, but to pursue it. So Ayn Rand was very social. And think about, I don't know if you've ever seen Ayn Rand's letters, but the number of people who wrote Ayn Rand with all kinds of questions, some of them would seem to me to be quite ridiculous, right? Like almost like the super chat, right? All kinds of questions all over the place. And she didn't just stand in front of a microphone and give her answers. She wrote, which is, I think, much harder. She wrote detailed, benevolent, positive letters. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. To people who wrote to her. People who disagreed with her. People who agreed with her. People who hated her. People who loved her. I mean, as long as they were respectful. It's amazing. The kind of effort, the kind of energy, the kind of focus that she had. Kind of respect for humanity that she had. Right? Is truly, that is reflected in those letters, is truly stunning. Truly stunning. I know very few people who have written so many letters, public figures, so many letters to people they didn't know. And all those letters are either online or in the Ayn Rand Letters book. Right. She valued human beings. She valued how her ideas could enhance your life, and the value of you living a good life was to her being surrounded by good people. So objectivists, egoists, self-interested people are not antisocial. Not antisocial. They're fun-loving, people-loving, good people-loving, not just any people. Would you go skydiving for $10,000? No. How much to sponsor a show, select a topic? $1,000. It's been that way for a while. $1,000, you select the topic, within reason. And like the one on Education on Friday is being sponsored. It's being sponsored. So she sent a list of questions that, broadly speaking, we will cover. But $1,000. All right, and I know I still owe a movie review. Movie reviews are $500, and I apologize for it taking so long, but I will get to it, I promise. All right, let's go through the super chats. I did that. You've described yourself as an introvert, but seem to have a very healthy social life. Any thoughts on healthy introversion versus unhealthy? Yeah, I mean, an unhealthy introvert is somebody who not only gains energy by being alone, which is what introverts generally do, but avoids people and suffers around people and becomes a recluse. That's definitely unhealthy. People are an immense value, and you have to learn how to deal with it. Now, some of us, the way we were raised or whatever the choices we made, we don't know how to deal with people. We don't know how to interact with them. We don't know how to gain value from them. But it's worth learning, and that requires, in a sense, experimenting. That requires trying. That it requires experiencing. It requires getting out there, having the courage to get out there, even though it makes you a little uncomfortable. So again, egoism is not about your short-term pleasure, your short-term comfort level. Although there's nothing wrong with short-term pleasure, but it's not about that. Sometimes in order to pursue a long-term goal, you have to be uncomfortable. And as an introvert, you've got to make the effort, summon the energy without alcohol, or maybe with a little bit of alcohol, to go and interact with other people. But it is interesting the role alcohol plays. Alcohol plays, it seems to me, particularly in the US, but no, Europe is the same, a crucial role in getting repressed and introverted people to socially engage. It's fascinating to me. And it's the one legitimate, I think, reason to consume alcohol. If it helps, just be careful how much. And over time, find ways to have a social life without alcohol being a lubricant. Right? Because it does dull the senses. In a sense, dulls the joy, dulls the upside as well as dulls the downside. Landon says, I know many objectivists are antisocial because they grew up with deeply irrational and abusive people. It took me many years to go out of this. Yes, absolutely. But you got to make the effort, right? Again, I go back to Yaron's rule number 1, right? Your life is everything. Make an effort. You have one life. It goes by really quickly. Make an effort. The sooner you start on that effort, the sooner you'll get out of it. The sooner you deal with your psychological issues, the sooner they'll be dealt with. The sooner you can achieve happiness. Jeff is contributing $10 to take us over 400. Thank you, Jeff. But he is doing it in the name of Alejandrina, who brings value to the show. She does, doesn't she? So yes. I think you're absolutely right. It's how we're brought up and the values we have, and getting rid of altruism and getting rid of our suspicion of people and getting rid of and embracing a positive view of the world. That is hard. And this is why I encourage people to see a psychologist, because I encourage them to find people who can help them. Don't do this alone. Don't do this alone. Any shortcut you can find is good. Shortcut, I mean, not cutting corners, but shortcut in a sense of getting to the goal faster. Who are some of your heroes besides Rand and Peikoff? I mean, Steve Jobs. I'm a huge Steve Jobs fan. I wish I'd been able to meet him. Somebody who's not alive, somebody who's not alive is somebody who I'll do a show about is Arturo Toscanini, who is a conductor, who lived just an amazing life. And the more I read about him, Leonardo da Vinci, I mean, what a lives they led. I mean, just amazing. No, Elon Musk is not a hero of mine. He's too confused and confusing and all over the place and mixed. And I mean, there's certain things that I admire about him, but he's not a hero. Beethoven's certainly a hero, as historical figures go. Beethoven and what he overcame and what he contributed to my life. I mean, somebody like John Allison, I think, is a hero. I mean, he's admirable and achievement, but Rand and Peikoff certainly are the primaries in my life. And I've had the luck, I guess, that Peikoff is in my life. That is, I can express my gratitude to him personally. I can treat him as a friend and as a hero. Do you think Newsom will lose in the California recall? Wow. He should. I don't know. I think it's going to be close. I think if he loses, it'll be close. If he wins, it could be by a big margin. California is left. Do they really want to risk some of these Republicans getting elected? Some of them are loonies, and of course, there's no guarantee of who will replace Newsom. It could be anybody. Caitlyn Jenner. I think as life returns to normal, the anger at him over COVID will dissipate. So I'm not sure. I don't have a good sense. I hope he loses. I hope the Republicans field some good candidates who could take over. But it's far from a sure thing, particularly as we get away from COVID and the economy recovers and people seem to be more positive about the world and more positive about California. But, hard to tell. People in California, everybody outside of California is always negative about California. I have a Jewish friend who battles me on self-interest. We debated arranged marriages. He defended, saying that those who do them are using self-interest. No, I mean, that's ridiculous. The most important relationship ever in your life that you will have, somebody else gets to choose. You have no say in it. Arranged marriages are some of the most immoral, anti-self-interest, and irrational. That in and of itself makes them immoral. Institutions in the world, and one of the great achievements of the Enlightenment, one of the great achievements of the last 200 years, is the ability to choose one's mate. So, no, this is, in everything important, you should choose. Choosing is life. Choosing is good. We had this in Yaron's rules in the beginning. Make choices. Embrace the responsibility. Don't default to other people's choices. Do you think Giuliani's son will win governor of New York race? I don't know. I don't know. I hope not. Although I shouldn't say that. I don't know who Giuliani's son is. Maybe he's a terrific fellow. Why should I condemn the son because I hate the father? I think some of the best news of this year is being the Justice Department investigation of Giuliani. I mean, Giuliani, I have no doubts, is a crook. And he deserves, even if it's unjust prosecution, he deserves it. Because of all the unjust prosecutions he inflicted on people when he was a district attorney for the Southern District of New York in the early 1980s. He deserves, I mean, he is one of the real bad guys in American politics over the last 40 years. I really despise him. A son, I don't know. Can a Republican win New York governorship? Maybe. I don't know. I like the story of Ayn Rand tapping the shoulders of a stranger on a bus reading the Fountainhead, and they talked and she signed her book. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a great story. Would you have liked to be that stranger? That's so cool. All right. Gene asks, Inherit the Wind, Right to Think speech was awesome. Oh, yeah, that's an awesome movie. One of the greats. Inherit the Wind with Spencer Tracy. Great acting, great drama, great speeches, well delivered, properly delivered. Better than how Gary Cooper delivers the speech in the Fountainhead. The Inherit the Wind speech is delivered perfectly. So yes, excellent, excellent, really enjoyable movies. So I encourage you to see Inherit the Wind and 12 Angry Men with Henry Fonda, two of the best courtroom dramas ever. And both having a real epistemological theme to them, which is rare in movies. Very few movies have a theme that is epistemological, particularly 12 Angry Men. All right, I think we're done. Frank says, my friend is too lazy to meet women on his own. Well, then he's being selfless. Laziness, when it comes to important values, is the epitome of selflessness. It's the epitome of not caring about your life. And it's completely within your control. Completely within your control. All right, guys. Have a great night. Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We're talking about education. It's going to be a great show. If you have any questions, any interest around education, whether you have kids or you don't have kids, you want to know what the state of the schools is, you want to know if there are better options, what are those better options, what does a good curriculum look like, can you have a good curriculum in a home school, can you have a good curriculum in small groups, is there something available online maybe? That all will be revealed on Friday, 8 p.m. East Coast time. Don't forget to like the show before you leave. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Really, really love to have you as a subscriber. Don't forget to support the show. You can support the show on yaronbrookshow.com/support. I really, really, really value when you do. Or on Patreon or on Subscribestar. And of course, if you subscribe at over $25 a month, you get all kinds of perks. You can read them on the website. Thank you to all the super chatters tonight for helping us reach our goal. Thank you for Alejandrina for egging you on and providing you with entertainment on the chat and encouraging you to pony up value for value. Thanks, everybody. See you.